Hello everybody and welcome to another Stellaris video. Hopefully I fixed my audio, but today what I'm doing is I'm continuing kind of my journey I've been on in the last few days to try to discover what is the strongest 5 builds in Stellaris. And of course that means I need to test virtuality out. I personally do not believe virtuality to be in the top 3 builds anymore. It's probably somewhere from 3 to 5, which is something really insane to say. And in order to test it, I'm going to be playing with this build you see here. This is just kind of a standard way that people have rushed virtual in the past. I'm not 100% sure if it's the best way to rush virtual anymore. Death Cult parliamentary system. Of course, your pop count really doesn't matter when you're rushing virtual. You just want to get as much unity as early on as possible, right? And Void Forge is also good because it offers 1.5 times the jobs per district compared to regular planets. And in addition to that, with the nerf to resource consolidation, having that really negative starting blockers and needing a lot of tech to clear it, has definitely made Void Forge the default way to play virtual again. So anyhow, one thing we're gonna do while playing this is we're just gonna kind of wing it, the build order. I'm not exactly sure the absolute best way to play this anymore. Like, I definitely want to lean into trade post Ascension, but before we ascend, I want to stick with temples, as temples simply offer, I think, the most unity per job you can get, especially when you have the sacrifice together edict activated from the Death Priest. I believe this is currently giving me like something like +3 unity per Death Priest, which is quite a bit, right? So as you can see, we have 480 jobs, making 71 unity, and also 9 society tech, which is kind of cool, which is definitely quite a bit. And we're going to open evolving society right away as well. Yeah, with that being said, one of the reasons why we're also focusing on mercantile is I believe mercantile will be extremely important to having a very dense production of resources later on, because I don't think anything can beat the efficiency of trade federations in terms of the resources produced per job, right? First of all, with merchant guilds, you can stack a whole bunch of modifiers to your trader efficiency, meaning you get really, really good trader efficiency. And then on top of that, you can stack branch offices from megacorps, which I've deliberately added a couple into this game, with the right branch office traits so that we can get extremely powerful branch offices, boosting our trader efficiency by another +4 trade per trader, making them some of the most efficient jobs per game. And when you're playing virtual, the kind of biggest restriction you have in the game typically tends to be just the amount of jobs you can fit on a limited, 4 habitats or something like that, which I typically find to be the most efficient number of habitats to have. Is usually around 4, sometimes 5. So yeah, that's kind of the goal here, right? And another thing that I wanted to mention is this mixed industry. I have no idea how long I want to keep it on my capital. Same with this archive. I definitely want to change this archive over to a spiritualist enclave as soon as we can. Just get more of those temple jobs, those priest jobs. I think no matter what you do, the fastest way to add more jobs to a habitat would be to just simply build temples, cover the entire thing with temples. But I don't want to get rid of my alloys here. I also don't want to fill up this entire zone with temples only to delete them later, which is something I probably will end up doing, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, anyhow, there's a lot of planets here. I do want to take at least some planets on the ground just so I can consecrate them and get even higher unity production numbers, right? Because we're going to need a lot of unity to ascend as fast as we can. Right now, we're only at 229 unity, which is definitely not the best. Like something like Memorialist Parliamentary could probably be at this number at like year 1. However, our ability to continuously build temples with Death Cult, and in case you guys don't know what Death Cult does, let me just go over it quickly, is you get the Sacrificial Temples, which gives you the Sacrificial Edict, and what the Sacrificial Edict does is it increases your base unity by a percentage, and it makes your priests produce more base output of unity as well, in exchange for murdering some of your pops. I think it's like 100 each time per 5 years, which is really not a lot, considering once we go virtual, we'll have infinite pops, so we're going to need to sacrifice 300 pops at most before we are fully ascended. Parliamentary system is just for early game unity. You guys are probably used to this by now, and then I just picked 3 traits that will help us get there quickly. I don't want to be Fanatic Spiritualist. I don't know why I chose not to be Fanatic Spiritualist. I think it's just because I wanted the trade bonus for later on. And whoa, is this the Shroud Enclave? That could be really powerful. I believe, yeah, this. I believe this is the. I hope this is the Shroud Walker, the Shroud Teacher Enclave. And then we can get the super powerful Shroud Teacher Leader, which will probably break the entire build because it's just so efficient compared to what I would like otherwise have at this stage of the game. So yeah, anyways, we're just going to continue to focus in on rushing our unit here. We're not going to worry about our good luck or bad luck too much. Alpha Centauri has a alloy deposit, which is not the most common thing you see from Alpha Centauri, so we're going to go ahead and take that immediately. We're also going to take this next system here. And the reason I'm so aggressively trying to claim these systems is, yeah, having 3 ground planets to consecrate will be very, very nice. Sometimes when you play Void Forge, you'll just spawn with no planets nearby, but I mean that's the risk you take, and then you won't be able to go for a second perk that I'm going to take later on. Anyway, so let's go ahead and go fast, skip some time a little bit, get things moving. I do want to be careful not to waste too much time on my capital. I don't know if right now the plays are ready to switch to a Spiritualist Enclave, right? Like, I do want to mention this is not a fully optimized build, right? This build path is not like I haven't worked out exactly the best way to play it. I'm sure there are faster ways to rush virtual. One of them that I've seen is Death Cult and Fortune Tellers, right? Is something that I've shown in before, except without Death Cult, which definitely seems very, very powerful. But I don't want to be locked into Fortune Tellers for late game. Or, yeah, I don't want to have that locked Civic, as I don't think we'll need that extreme of an early game Unity rush, right? And we can just use a more standard, slightly slower Unity rush and not get locked into a Civic like Fortune Tellers, which is nice but not amazing late game. I prefer Traders late game anyway, like regular Traders. And one of the reasons I prefer regular Traders, right, is in case you don't know how Megacorp branch offices work, there are different Megacorp branch office buildings that do different things. And the most common one, and one that the AI will almost always try to build on you, is they'll almost always try to build a commercial forum on you. And the reason why that is really, really powerful is the commercial forum can boost your trade output from your traders by up to 6 per trader, which is absolutely a ridiculous amount. I don't know what the base output of a trader is, but that's probably like a 50% increase to the base, which is absolutely insane. It makes your trade output when in combination with merchant guilds go absolutely crazy. And it's not very reliable to get the AI to build anything except for commercial forums on you. And when we discover some of those AIs in this galaxy, hopefully I'll be able to get a commercial pact and have them build some of those crazy good branch offices on me, as yeah, it should help us a lot. It also makes it so that if you're playing collaboratively or playing with a friend, you should always play as one Megacorp and one regular Empire with merchant guilds, because you can get some crazy efficiency bonuses that way. And if you're playing with a human player, you can run something like Fortune Tellers, right? Because they'll build the Spiritualist version of the commercial forums on your building, which boosts the efficiency of your temples instead, right? So that is all fantastic, but I don't think we're going to have access to that here. At least I'm not sure, so I just went with the easier thing, which is just spamming temples everywhere, right? We're going to spam temples, 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 and then we're going to turn this into a archive district, and then cover that entire thing with temples as well. And every time we need more consumer goods, we're just going to plop one habitation district down. This will slowly build up our ability to build up alloys as well, and then eventually get our second habitat built in Alpha Centauri, which will be our main, Wankwort too, which will be our main tech habitat, and then the other habitat will just be the habitat we can find with the most possible districts. It looks like 11 right now, which is really not the most, but if we can find like a 12 or a 13 base, that would be nice. Other than that, yeah, we're just going to put our next habitats wherever we can. Let's also just remember to re-sacrifice every time, and as you can see, produce per 100 death Prius plus 3 unity, which is an insane amount. By the way, like look at this. We're going to jump from probably 197 unity back up to over 300 when the month passes, and there we go. Yeah, 307 unity. So 50% increase in unity from a plus 3 base. And that is why base values in Stellaris, by the way, are so important. and they really outweigh, I would say, percentage bonuses by quite a bit. I mean, you need like ridiculous amount of percentage bonus to outweigh +3 base. So yeah, Death Cult definitely very strong. I don't remember where I rated it in my civics list, but I definitely might have underrated it. It might be S tier. Just because of the strength of Unity rushing and the fact that most Ascensions these days give you what feels like a near unlimited amount of pops after you finish Ascension. So anyway, here at year 5, or looks like we're going to finish our second tradition tree. 0.75 Unity is definitely a little bit easy these days, and it seems that most multiplayer lobbies, literally in the last month or so, have kind of swapped over to 1.x Unity cost, which means I might be doing that soon as well, right? And matching multiplayer is not exactly my #1 priority in my videos anymore, as yeah, the more I play Stellaris and focus on videos, I just realized that probably 99% of players don't play multiplayer, which is fine if you do. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's definitely pretty fun, but it's just not a really relatable experience for a lot of the players for Stellaris out there. Anyhow, we're just going to go and take Consecrated Worlds here, and we're going to spend 1500 Unity to consecrate a few of these planets. And this should jump our Unity probably up to almost 400 a month already here at year 6, which is not bad. It does cost 3 months of Unity to do this, but this will definitely pay off in the mid to short term. So yeah, one more planet here to consecrate, and our 3 Holy Wars. I love it when they're near a capital, to be honest. It always feels nice. So yeah, now we're going to be producing a very good amount of Unity, close to 400 with no additional temples. And let's also swap this with an archive zone. This can't be converted to a spiritualist enclave, but archive zones can build Death Prius jobs, right? So that's why it's so good. And we're negative on consumer goods now, so let's probably like put a habitation district in the middle here, and just focus on getting some of that as well. In these 2 habitat zones that we've gotten so far, we kind of unfortunately, I would say, don't have access to a lot of mineral deposits, right? Every single thing we've taken has had good tech deposits. We don't really need tech deposits. We need basic resource deposits, but this should be okay. It just means I probably won't be deleting the base resource deposits on our homeworld. I have no idea how much alloys I want to build for this playthrough. As this is not a multiplayer playthrough, I could definitely lean more into tech instead of alloys and that kind of thing if I want to. So yeah, that is yet to be decided. Yeah, getting enough minerals with virtual is also normally a problem, as can't build support zones on your base districts, which makes them really, really inefficient compared to basic resources these days. So we're going to be leaning a lot into trade to just buy up enough minerals, and probably just needing to sacrifice a few districts on one of our alloy-focused habitats in order to build as much alloys as possible. I guess we could try to go catalytic, but I don't know how to, like, producing food is probably even harder than producing minerals with Void Forge, so we're going to decide that later on. Anyhow, for our next tradition tree, I think what I want to go for is Prosperity. Prosperity increases our mining station output, increases our building speed, which is generally pretty important. As you can see, we've been consistently building on our capital with a bit of a queue building up for stuff, right? So definitely would be nice to get that resolved at some point. We've also explored our local space area quite a bit here, and I don't think I've found a single system with more than 12. I don't know if 12 is the maximum for the number of districts. Like, there's 14 in our capital, but we're Sol Start, right? I believe I remember to take Sol System. Yeah, so Sol System gives one of the nicest starting habitats. But I don't know if you can naturally find anything as high as 14, because I don't play Void Forged enough to know, to be honest. So I guess if 12 is the best we got, we're just going to build over 12. Not a huge deal. Oh, this is the Mind Warden Enclave, not the Shroudwalker Enclave. Oops. Yeah, I still don't recognize those enclaves, unfortunately. Sag, I was really hoping that was the Shroudwalker Enclave, because then we could get a crazy leader that I guess would kind of break the build. It's a bit too efficient compared to what you could normally find, so not a really fair comparison. So I guess it's fine that I didn't find it here, and I guess we don't need to build this archive yet. We can put this temple in first, right? Just make sure we're maximizing Unity. It looks like we need another mixed industry as well, so let's slot that in. Just make sure we have enough consumer goods, because buying consumer goods is really expensive with the amount of trade we're making. And we do find the Bekbakian Trade Alliance, which is amazing because these are guys I deliberately put in the game. And take a look at their traits. Trading posts, +2 trade from star-based buildings, +4 star-based capacity, and commercial corporate. But most importantly, the commercial form corporate building generates an additional trade and adds 200 trader jobs, and franchising does the same thing. So if we can immediately get some agreements going with them, let's see how long we can have to wait before we get the commercial pack. We could trade them some resources to make it faster, to be honest. What do I want to take here? Powered exoskeletons? You know what? I think I want to take build speed, planet build speed, and then we're just going to go ahead and take, after that, we're just going to go ahead and start the habitat tech. We're just going to guarantee independence. I mean, this is going to eat all our influence for now. But we can swap this over to cooperative later, and yeah, this is really going to hurt our influence. Like, this is going to be using a crazy amount, and which is not the best when you're playing Voidforged, because, of course, you need to build habitats, which cost a crazy amount of influence, so not the best, but we don't have the alloys to build it anyway right now, so that is a-okay. And yeah, I just want to get the commercial pack going as soon as possible. And other than that, we find the curators or next to like every enclave. This is what happens when you play in a 200 size galaxy, by the way, is every enclave is just really easy to find. We could just purchase this. Actually, it's a bit expensive. I only have 600 energy credits, but let's just go ahead and purchase that. We're at 480 unity now, by the way, which is definitely quite nice. Unlike fortune tellers, we're not sustaining our empire through trade alone, which is a little bit different from fortune tellers, right? Where it would be producing an additional like 150 trade, 200 trade, which we could be using to sustain our empire, but unfortunately we don't have access to that. In the meantime, we could optimize our jobs here a little bit. Like, we definitely don't need enforcers. And we definitely need all the basic resource workers we have here, though, so we're probably going to keep those around. And private mines, 200 miner jobs, it's not bad. It's really not bad, considering, you know what, I don't want to do it, though. I still want to go Spark of Genius. And yeah, oh my god, we're like super negative on consumer goods now, so we're going to drop back that and just buy some extra consumer goods. And I think one thing we also want to do is we don't want to work any of these jobs. No biologists, no engineers. And yeah, that should help us a little bit with the consumer goods situation, which is definitely looking a bit shaky. Evolving society, we can pass this for 300 unity, or how many months do we have to wait? 2 months, we'll just wait it at this point. Let's not waste the unity on that. And also, still no commercial pact. Yeah, I guess we just need to wait for the relations to improve. They're improving pretty fast on their own at this point, so we can just wait for that. Not a huge deal. And yeah, everything's going great, 500 unity at year 8 is nothing to scoff at. It's not the best. Like, I've seen players get up to 900 unity at this time with different builds, so it obviously could be better. But, I mean, one thing is we're producing 12 alloys still and have a basic, like a sustainable basic economy, which is not always the case for builds which try to push even more unity than this out. And I do want to expand the council as well, just so we can get that trade focus leader in. And we're going to have to reform our government soon, because we're at year 9 and we don't want to get stuck with parliamentary system and death cult to 2020. So we're going to definitely try to get a government reformation in here, which means we're going to have to re-elect a leader. So it's time to lock in and pay attention. Just going to do a quick little check on commercial pact. I guess it really is just going to wait for 20 trust. It's not going to, we're not going to build enough attitude in order to get anything done there. I think this system having 11 districts is only one worse than this up here, right? And it means I don't have to spend the extra alloys to build the outpost and scan the system, so I might just build my second habitat here. It is one smaller, which is worse in the ultra late game, but let's be real, I don't play ultra late games unless it's for a video. So, and I mostly want to compare how the builds compare up to about year 50, because after year 50, a lot of builds become very, very strong. It's just the speed at which you can get there is what's kind of more interesting to me, at least. So we're going to work on that. I'm also going to put another habitation district in as our, basic economy there, or our industrial economy is still not looking great. Our economy is also not looking great. I wonder if I should build another star base just for basic economy. I guess I could build a hydroponics farming bay. That would help. And then, yeah, I don't really want to build a second starbase because I really want to save alloys up for habitat now. And let's make this commercial pact. Nice. So now that we have the commercial pact, I think we can revoke the independence guarantee. And I want to revoke the independence guarantee because if they get dragged into war, I don't want to go with them. Given that they're fanatic, xenophile, egalitarian, they probably won't get dragged into war, but it's possible. And now we do get this branch office holding, and as you can see, they're immediately building a commercial forum, and we're about to see why that is so powerful, even though we're barely producing trade right now. Oh, yeah, also our election has started, right? I said to lock in. So essentially what you want in your election is exactly what's happening now, which is you want any leader except for your starting leader to win the election. And our starting leader is, who is our starting leader? Rasa, but huh? But I'm confused. I'm confused here. Oh no. See, this is too much unity. I don't think I can increase support enough times for anyone but them to win. This is kind of unusual, to be honest, and this is kind of unlucky. This happens sometimes, I guess, but I mean, what can you do about that? I mean, 30. I'm kind of curious. Like, do I even have enough unity? Because 3,000 unity is worth pushing them to the top. So let me make a save here. I'm genuinely curious. Like, I don't know the costs of the unity to push the leaders up there, but let me go ahead and resume this now and just see if we have enough. Um, oh, why? Okay. Um, why is it so bad? Like, jeez. Okay. Anyway. No, it's not even close. It's not even close. So, I mean, let's just go ahead and load the save, and we're just going to accept the fact that we won't be able to reform our government for some time, which sucks. This happens sometimes when you play parliamentary system. Also, I have so many saves, this thing takes forever. But yeah, like I was just kind of curious, like how close will we get? It wasn't close at all. Like there's no way to get any leader except Arasa to win. I don't know if there's a way to get them killed in this amount of time. So yeah, in the meantime, I guess we're just gonna suffer with 3 unoptimized civics, which does suck. Normally, when you don't fire your Minister of State, this isn't a problem. But somehow it's a problem now. So what can you do? You know what I mean? Normally your Minister of State is much closer, but they really don't like my current Minister of State. No idea why. Xenophile, egalitarian. Yeah, I don't see why they should dislike them so much, but I mean, it is the way it is. You know, I'm not gonna force the issue too hard there. We can use this extra trade, by the way, just sustain our energy credits, sustain our trade a little bit, and very soon we should be starting our Ascension too, which is nice. You know, we don't want to make a research agreement with them, as we'll mostly be giving them research very soon. And we got what we want from them, which is the commercial forum, right? So, anyways, let's go ahead and do we even need to put more temples down? Probably not. But we can go ahead and start with the synthetic age ascension now. And of course, we're going to go ahead and put that on fully overclocked, as we're producing more than enough unity to get the tradition done in time. At this point, what we actually want is probably to build an ally foundry on our mixed industry zone here, and just use this mixed industry zone to our benefit, and just start pumping out city districts, as that should definitely be our goal. We're going to change the Spiritualist Enclave to a trade based district, essentially, and then we're going to run trade in order to sustain our empire post-Ascension for consumer goods. And then we're going to try to get alloys by alloy jobs. Kind of makes sense. And then basic resources are going to be the struggle, right? Energy credits, until we can get a trade federation, right? There's 2 ways we can get a trade federation. The first one is, let me actually send this science ship manually over to Survey 2 Systems, is to form a trade federation with ourselves. And the optimal thing would be to form a trade federation with our Bekbaki neighbors here, with the trading alliance that I like to put in my games in games that I play trade, to make it easier and to simulate playing in multiplayer, right? Because in multiplayer, people love megacorps. It's usually not too hard to get into a trade federation. And rightfully so. Megacorps are definitely amazing. And as you can see, we're running out of minerals as we continue to push into more advanced resources, which is typically what happens, right? So that's perfectly fine and dandy there. And well, we're in a crazy dead end here. So yeah, thankfully our only neighbor was the Back Your Trade Alliance. Otherwise, it would have been annoying. Although with only like 4 or 5 AI empires in this galaxy, and 2 of them uh, being one of these identical trade builds that I've made to make our game easier, the chances were pretty good. So yeah, take a look at this. Like I have almost no trade infrastructure on my planet, right? It's just this branch office, one trader zone making 149 trade from 600 traders, right? It's absolutely insane. I love it. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I guess we're not going to reform our government also um, until we manage to do so via alternate means, which is definitely pretty funny. We're gonna have to either find third civic or wait for year 20, which is definitely a bit rough, a bit of a misplay, but you know it happens. It happens. Let's colonize Sirius here. I think it's worth it for the 3 alloy base output and the decent minerals from space. Other than that, though, oh yeah, minerals from space is a bit dire this game, I gotta say. And as we run out of basic resource jobs, we're just gonna have to buy all of them. Luckily, we have enough trade to make this happen, so nothing to worry about there. We're making 28 alloys per month now as well, which means we're going to be able to get our habitats up sooner rather than later. But yeah, at this point in the game, since we're pretty stable and we're just waiting for Ascension, I'm going to fast forward until we get closer to Ascension. In the meantime, I'm just going to make sure I'm managing our basic resources and what I'm building on my capital. Other than that, not anything too special. Alright everyone, welcome back. So my capital has just been upgrading a little bit. As you can see, our basic resources are really looking bad here. But we're just going to go negative on trade in order to sustain our empire here, as very, very soon we're going to get events in the transformation that will give us some basic resources. Mainly the virtual power plant, giving us 30 energy credits, will be an absolute lifesaver. The other thing I want to do is I want to queue up this habitat central complex here. One thing you can do is, I think relatively early, you get access to living metal, so you could go ahead and use the living metal to accelerate your habitat building process. The other thing I would highly recommend is set your fleet stance to passive. The reason why you want a passive fleet stance on your construction ship while building a habitat is it means it won't get interrupted for no reason. They want a subjugation here. We're just gonna say no, right? As even though they want to subjugate us, we don't have to say yes, right? And it's not going to make them more angry because they like us anyway. So yeah, don't get baited by these. You can just decline. Like nothing bad is going to happen. And giving 30% of your basic resources away is killer. You know, it's very hard to survive that, and we definitely need some more energy credits here. But we're up to like 40 alloys per month, right? Which is definitely quite solid. And it definitely means we're going to be able to get our second habitat up pretty soon. I don't know whether to put it here or in Sirius. Sirius has 3 physics deposit. This one has like quite a bit, right? It has 1, 2. It only has 2. 2 tech deposits. If I could find another system with 3+ tech deposits, that would be amazing. Of course, I haven't found that yet. I probably will just put my second habitat in something like Cirrus, and just use it as an alloy and minerals habitat, as there's decent amount of mineral deposits in Cirrus, 2 of them. So yeah, we could kind of use that as a mineral and alloy hybrid. Yeah, once again, the minerals will be a pretty big problem on 2 or 3 habitats. Maybe we'll go to 4 habitats, but we'll also run into issues with naval capacity. So, you know, like virtual definitely is feeling the struggle of not being able to go wide, I would say, as wide has been so good recently in Stellaris that not being able to go wide definitely comes with noticeable and significant downsides. And I wonder what could be done about that. I really don't know, to be honest. Yeah, anyhow, yeah, at this point, we're just waiting for the situation still, so I'll be back when we're closer. Alright, everyone, I have no idea if this is a good idea or not, but we are getting really close to the amount of unity we need to ascend. I believe it's 45,000. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to time a commercial nexus being built with hitting about that number of unity. As we're obviously not spending any unity, we're just saving it up to finish the virtual tradition tree right now. As our basic economy is getting worse and worse, right? Like, we're only going to be able to hold this out for a little bit longer. We do have a few rare resources we could sell. I am using the living metal to speed up my habitats building. Yeah, I also am going to get the second habitat up in Cirrus soon. I would like to put it here. Ooh, 13 districts? 11? Okay, we're definitely going to put it up here then. Never mind. 13 districts is undoubtedly worth the extra trouble. 2 extra districts. I was like, 12 is not worth it. Oh, this one's 12 now. Why did it get upgraded? Oh, did everything go up +1? Yeah, everything went up +1. So yeah, I think Cirrus being, is a little bit too deficient, unfortunately. So we're going to go ahead and survey that and just continue on. All right, here we are. We can finally reshape by embracing the virtual world. This means our situation will be done in no time at all. As you can see, our sacrifice edict ran out and our unity is terrible, so let's go ahead and remember to reactivate that. Just remember to prioritize the mortal initiate job so that you always have 100 ready to sacrifice. Otherwise, you might be waiting there for a minute for your unity there, which definitely is what happened to me. But anyhow, we're fine now, and I'll be back when we're almost done. All right, everyone. So we are now a virtual. I believe we should have just about enough unity to do this entire tradition tree. Yes, we do. We have basically exactly enough. Very nice. Immediately Cosmogenesis, because I love Cosmogenesis a bit too much. And we need to make a bunch of changes to our empire now immediately. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over from from marketplace of ideas to consumer benefits, and I'm going to go militarized economy. I'm going to swap this industrial zone on our capital. We are lacking a lot of minerals. Oh dear. Let's go ahead and just buy a ridiculous amount of minerals here. I don't know if that's going to stay. Okay, we're good on minerals now. And this will be swapped over to a military heavy industry, right? And then we're gonna, yeah, we have a lot of changes to make. So we're making way too much consumer goods right now, which is fine. We don't need to buy any of those, obviously. We still have excess trade, and this is the power of commercial forums, right? And we can sacrifice a couple of these for research districts, as our research right now is really lackluster. So yeah, we're gonna build as many research districts as we can too. And of course, we need to colonize Alpha Centauri, which we probably should have already done. So let's go ahead and start doing that now. And we get a pirate fleet in between us and where we want to build our other habitat. Ain't that perfect, so instead, let's just put it over here. Not a huge deal, I guess. Let's get that going. Man, don't you love it when they just, spawn a random pirate fleet? I hate the pirate fleets. I've never enjoyed the pirate interactions in Stellaris. And by the way, hopefully my audio settings are better. I have checked them out a bit. If I have more problems with them, I might just need to get a new mic at some point. As this mic is definitely a little finicky. It's on like a $60 headset, right? Like so. Yeah, I should probably work on that. But yeah, we've been needing a new mic, so maybe I can get it working, and hopefully it's working fine this episode. So I just wanted to mention that. And yeah, this is a lot of consumer goods. So this means we're going to want to build a lot of tech to use these consumer goods, but for now, we also need to find a home for some of these alloys. So what we're going to really quickly do is build a couple star bases, and we're going to use those star bases for good uses as well. And I think we will need a fourth habitat at some point as well, because a fourth habitat will be needed for naval capacity once we start building fleets, or we could use something like riddle escorts. And if we use riddle escorts, then we won't need the same level of habitats because, well, riddle escorts are completely overpowered. Like, simply speaking, right? And we're going to switch this over to an engineering research zone as well, because that's going to be the first engineering type we want a significant amount of. Yeah, and here we're just gonna research. You know what? Let's research this first because it's so fast, relatively speaking. And then we'll get into the heavier researches. And I believe habitats colonize pretty fast, but this still feels like it's not the fastest, unfortunately. Yeah, not having enough alloys to colonize those earlier definitely is hurting us a little bit now. But such is the way things are. Like, you can't have everything. If you ascend faster and don't have enough alloys to build the habitats, that's nice. And if you did the opposite, right, you ascend slower, but then you don't have the virtual active, then what good is that, right? So you always have something that you wish you did earlier, but you can really only have so many. If you could have more, then your build is just more and more overpowered, right? And there are builds which kind of do that right now. I'm also really pleased about this consumer goods count and this alloy count. Both are extremely pleasant, which is something I wanted to see. So yeah, very, very nice there. And that will definitely let us focus a lot on research. Habitation districts. Let's switch to engineering specialization first. Our tech is really bad right now. We could definitely use any amount more tech than what we currently have. Yeah, luckily we're going to have an entire habitat for tech here, right? Alpha Centauri habitat, 9 research districts is just amazing. And then, our habitat in Orlando or whatever, this will definitely be a habitat that's dedicated purely 2 minerals and alloys, just to make sure that we are as militarized as we can be as well. Our homeworld will be trade, heavy industry, if we can leave it there, and research districts. We're going to max out the 6 research districts we get in our capital system as well, because this will be our engineering-focused habitat, and then the other one will be just purely mixed, I think. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do that arrangement. I think that's what we want, at least. And let's go ahead and build a research district here immediately. By the way, we're not even merchant guilds yet, so our consumer goods situation is going to be even better than this once we have that going, which is nice. And yeah, this is why it's also so overpowered to have a corporate holding. So yeah, try to get corporate holdings, guys. Either play with a friend or add some of these funny AIs. Make sure they have similar civics or ethics to what you're playing, so it's very easy to become friendly with them, and just force them to spawn in your games. And yeah, it gives you a little bit of a fun side quest as well. So let's go ahead and open Supremacy. Right, our Unity is not amazing right now, but it's definitely enough to continue adding traditions and stuff like that. So nothing to be ashamed of there. Let's also go build an archive district. Right, these archive districts are actually really nice because they give you some Unity output. They also allow you to build science buildings on them, which is really nice. And they produce scientist jobs, right? So it's kind of like a triple nice thing there. And let's go ahead and colonize. Wait, what? None of those planets were the habitat. I thought the habitat had finished because I saw 2 planets there, but then I forgot that system just has 2 planets. And how weird is it to not take Wankwort when you have Wankwort? But I really don't think we need to take it, as Wankwort actually loses its custodian bonuses when you turn it into an Ecumenopolis. So, right, you have to use an entire perk for that, and then on top of that, it doesn't give you the most in the world. So yeah, it's a little sad in that department. So anyhow, I think we will go 4 habitats here. I always find that 3 habitat is what you really want, because I really like crave that resource bonus, but then you just lack buildings to a crazy extent, right? You lack slots to build stuff in. So we're immediately build a materials workshop here, and then just continue to stack on these research districts, right? We don't really need all these districts. We don't even need these mineral districts, to be honest, in the long run, as we're going to be placing those somewhere else. And I think at this point we bite the bullet and we take the really expensive habitat tech. Nice. We're also building up a good amount of consumer goods, which is nice to see. These consumer goods and alloys, as this means we could have a pretty strong year 30 if that's what we so wanted to do. We're going to put 2 resource silos down, as I wanted to do earlier, but kind of forgot, as those resource silos will definitely be helpful. And we're just going to pre-build shipyards, so I don't, suddenly at year 30 remember, oh shoot, I have no shipyards at all, which is definitely something I have done before. We don't talk about it. So yeah, anyways, it's time to build up our tech. Build up each one of the workshops first is definitely a good way to build the tech, as I don't think we can build jobs in a faster way. We don't even have 0G laboratories yet, so we can't specialize the research zone off our capital, which is fine. I don't really know what to do with first contact with those guys. I don't really care, to be honest, as we're pretty far away, and there's an entire empire between us who likes us, so that's all fine and dandy there. And optimized network, I believe, is what we want there. Job efficiency plus 5%. Very, very nice. And yeah, we're definitely not building up our tech as fast as I was hoping for, but it's not bad either, right? And we're producing a huge excess of industrial resources right now, so, I mean, that's always nice. It's better to be in huge excess of those than huge deficit, which I've also has happened to me before. It is not fun. And I do not believe we can do another sacrifice, so it is time to reform out of these early game civics that I should have reformed out of at year 10, but due to a mistake couldn't. And there's a lot of different options here. I think what I'm going to go for is merchant guilds, and then, is it meritocracy here? It could be meritocracy here, right? It could be crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing would be a good source of extra tech. It could be Ascensionists. Ascensionists is extremely good late game, but I don't think we're at the point in the game where Ascensionist is really good yet. It could be functional architecture for the build speed. I think that's what it is, right? Functional architecture for the build speed, oligarchic. Yeah, that's what we're going to go with. And let's go ahead and put our counselors in. And we finally have a good head of research. And most importantly, a good director of trade. This is going to give us a much more ridiculous amount of trade output. Also, a second official class leader in your council is always nice. And there we go. As you can see, this should jump our trade and consumer goods quite a bit, which will allow us to really, really like dive deep into tech on this tech habitat here. Kind of just limited by build speed, which tends to happen a lot in Stellaris these days, right? Like you guys might have definitely noticed that by now. And we do find the whoa, they're like up here. We're all right next to each other. That's amazing. Let's establish an embassy actually, and I think we want to go mercantile now, right? As we can definitely do that. We can turn on mining subsidies, temporarily boost up the amount of minerals we have. Is this habitat done yet? 92%, not quite. Definitely takes a while. Look at that. We're at just an enormous excess of consumer goods. Wow, that is definitely way more than I thought. That is more than I can use right now, which is amazing. So yeah, this planet just better build up quickly, right? We don't really have another way to use these consumer goods, so they'll be going to storage really soon. I guess we should build another star base just to store some of those. Resources, we just have so many. Oh, this is a great arc furnace system too. So do I have arc furnaces? Oh, my habitat completed. Let's go ahead and take that. Where did I build it? Here it is. So you can go and colonize. Why is there no colonize button? Okay, let's not disband you, but don't you love how the colonize button can be hard to click? What is this? Okay. You stop moving, and then colonize. Another thing is you can't select a ship that's moving to colonize something. I really don't like that. That should be changed. But okay, there we go. Anyhow, we're good now. We're good now. Nothing to worry about there. Yeah, our industrial output is definitely a little bit disappointing as well. I will say, we're bad on energy credits now, but this is why trade is so OP. We're just gonna buy 110 energy credits because we can, and we have 300 excess trade. I definitely think playing a build like this without merchant guilds and a branch office overlord is much tougher. You won't have the same luxury in basic resources and that kind of thing. And you'll definitely notice it. You'll definitely notice it. So I would highly recommend playing this with a trade partner. Otherwise, I genuinely don't think the build is nearly as powerful. But the same thing goes for Overtuned, and the same thing goes for basically any empire which can take advantage of trade. Is they don't feel the same without these exploitative kind of trade things. The only one that is still ridiculous is Knights of the Toxic God, just because Knights have such a crazy tech-based output that it's almost game-breaking in a lot of senses. Just the sheer amount of resources you can get from a well-played Knights of the Toxic God build is hilarious, right? Because you get one habitat making 35,000 tech. Some people claim to get 60,000 tech out of it, and I believe you can do that just probably by stacking a lot of squires, right? I have no idea at which point it's worth building a second Knight's habitat versus stacking your original one to extreme extents. I have no idea. Once again, once I play into most games into that late game, it is no longer a concern to me exactly what we're doing. So, because at that point you've already won the game, you're just trying to see how much you're gonna win by, right? So, anyhow, we have tons of engineering tech now. Hopefully, we can pick up on our other tech sources quite a bit. Let's turn this into a research enclave as soon as we can. So let's go ahead and move that up just behind this research district here, and then also move this archive district up a little bit. Get this research station online as soon as possible, and then this can be our alloy habitat. This alloy habitat has no mining bays. Okay, that sucks. That means we're gonna have to put some mining bays on our fourth habitat here. Not a bad deal. Let's put a single shipyard up here, and yeah, this pirate fleet will be annoying until I remove it, so maybe I'll build a few ships to remove it, but I kind of want to wait till riddle escorts. Yes, I'm that greedy. I want to wait to build any ships. I want my first ship to be a riddle escort. Yeah, I'm pretty greedy. Anyhow, let's just, put heavy industries on this planet, right? I don't see anything else we want to do with it. Make sure we have alloys, and let me say, this build is definitely stronger than clones. right? I recently played one round of clones. I didn't do a trade exploit in that build, so maybe I should try clones with the branch office trade exploit. Like this branch office is making 1,000 trade for them, but it's also making probably similar to that amount of trade for me, because right, +4 base, insane. Um, so yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm smiling all the way through because how amazing is this? Yeah. Anyways, like what else do we need to do at this point, right? We need to upgrade these star bases. It's mostly just rolling it through engineering techs, right? Like we have quite a few engineering techs to find. We do need Cosmogenesis level 2 as well. Cosmogenesis level 2 will give us access to riddle escorts, and I just want to straight build riddle escorts at this point in the game. Destroyer. No, I don't want to build destroyers, right? Because I don't need destroyers. Let's just take crystals, right? Get access to those rare resources as soon as we can. Yeah, this planet has a lot of work to do. It has a lot of basic districts that are still unoccupied, which is kind of cool, I guess. I don't really know what to put in them for now. I guess I'll just build. That's a bit of a question actually. Let's just build something, right? We want to build something in these districts. We don't want them to be sitting still doing nothing. But those are definitely not the final buildings I want in those spots. That's fine how it is for now, though. Yeah, just make sure we have enough storage at all times to just continuously store up the ridiculous amount of resources we're getting. Boom, boom, bada bing. Resource silos. What else can we do here? I don't think we even need weather control systems, right? Because we don't ever need the Cumulonopoli with this build. We're just going to be running on 4 habitats, right? The 4 habitats just build up job districts so quickly that it's kind of what we want. I guess we could take plated armor here. I really wanted us to do cheaper techs, so keep the techs rolling, keep the crisis level rising. Scum and Villainy, oh, you know what I forgot to do? Is I forgot to re-enable the enforcers. Does virtual even have a decision to clean up crime? No, it doesn't. We're just gonna distribute luxury goods, I guess, and 0% crime, 75% stability. Hopefully the crime doesn't spread and the event clears. Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully, or we're gonna be in trouble, so. Yeah, anyway, just continue to pile up the research here. It really feels like the tech is crawling along, but just because this Cosmogenesis tech is kind of shockingly expensive, and our tech speed is really low. Because we only have 2 scientists, and neither of them are great on our council. Yeah, the low tech speed is definitely quite noticeable, to be honest. And we do get exotic gases here. We're just going to take that as soon as possible. And let's build the crystal plant as soon as possible as well. 223 alloys at year 24 is obviously nothing to scoff at, but it's not amazing, right? It's definitely not amazing. I don't even think I can delete this mineral extraction zone. To be honest, because then we're just going to run short on minerals. We only have 196 excess trade until this completes. Let's also just build the colony ship here, just so that's ready to colonize. And yeah, let's just roll through cheap techs, and we should have the riddle escort here, which is a ridiculous tech to be researching this early into the game, but it's also kind of funny, so there we go, riddle escort. That will complete before year 30, which is funny, but I don't know how much spare time it'll have. And did we ever research Starhold? No, we didn't. So, yeah, unfortunately, it'll have to be built amongst 3 different terrible star bases, which is fine, I guess. Let's get these rare resources down as soon as we can as well. And let's see how our tech is doing. Like 1,500 tech for year 24 is not bad. I believe 3K tech is the standard for year 30 with virtual, right? I know people have gone to 1.5K tech on virtual when they have to take it as the 5th Ascension perk, which is wild. Because yeah, the Unity is just so much deeper on that. Like you can't really finish Ascension until like year 28 instead of year 18. Which is an insane amount more difficult to still manage to get to 1.5K tech. So shoutouts to people who do that. Yeah, obviously the only reason why you'd ever do that, by the way, is if the rules of a multiplayer lobby forced you to take it as a 4th Ascension perk. Otherwise, you would always just take it as soon as possible, right? There's no reason not to, in a lot of senses. So, yeah. Anyhow, this is pretty good. Like our Unity is terrible. 276 Unity is genuinely bad, but who cares, right? We have supremacy, we have the 20 naval capacity, and since we're building riddle escorts, we won't need a lot of capacity for that. This is an arc furnace system, so we're going to get a ridiculous amount of mining districts here, which is nice because we're going to need quite a bit of mining districts to support our upkeeps here, which our upkeeps are going to be quite ridiculous. And it doesn't even look like I'm going to make good timing on the the riddle escort technology. So yeah, hopefully these riddle escorts built up pretty quickly, because we're going to need it. We're going to need this habitat central district soon because we're getting crime, right? And we don't get crime until we have an upgraded habitat control center. So we're probably going to need to wait for that to upgrade as well. But overall, going pretty well, right? Like, it's still pretty fast. But anyhow, I'll be back when we're a little closer to year 30, as I don't want this video to be too long. And yeah, I'll see you then. Alright, guys, our mining station here has finished. We're going to start with some basic resource zones. And yeah, if we take a look at the specialization districts, this is the problem with habitats, in my opinion, for basic resources. You don't get support zones, which really stinks. However, I can use this planet for kind of whatever resources I need. I don't know exactly what that's going to be yet, so we're just going to use it for a basic resource stimulation now. We just need basic resources at this point, and our riddle escorts also look like they are just barely going to finish on time, which kind of sucks. It would be nice to start building them a bit earlier, but we also have 20,000 alloys built up. Anyone can tell that could be converted into ships, like inferior, significantly more inferior ships if I wanted to, right? But very few builds can match 20k alloys at year 27 with decent but not amazing tech. And if I wasn't doing riddle escort tech the whole time, I definitely would have cruisers as well. But yeah, this is a 66,000 cost tech, which is definitely quite a bit for this stage of the game. So probably not the smartest idea I had there to try to take that right away. But you know me, I don't think before I do. So I just do and then think and then realize it was a bad idea. So anyhow, we are going to focus quite a bit on tech still. Get this data-driven research facility in should be nice. Let's build one on our homeworld too, and we can just buy the gases needed to do that. And yeah, this should increase our tech speeds quite a bit. We're going to get to 3k tech sooner or later, right, which is nice. And yeah, having this habitat take over our basic resources is going to be super important too. Otherwise, we're just not going to have... Ooh, you can actually get pretty good farming density here. Wait. Per district, 150 farming jobs. Okay, no, and that's per energy district? No, that's actually terrible. Never mind. Never mind. No, let's just get hyperlane breach points here. Just, whoops, I accidentally, elbowed my mic. Hopefully you guys aren't all deaf now. Sorry, headphone users. And yeah, it looks like we're also completely full on consumer goods, which is pretty incredible considering the amount that I'm trying to use these consumer goods, but it's not working. Can I change the species rights of these guys? Utopian abundance. It doesn't really do. It just uses more consumer goods, because we have no civilians, right? There's no civilian population with this, so it doesn't do anything. We just stay on basic rights there, and that should be about as good as we need. Yeah, this is one of the rare builds where I'm both egalitarian and did not use utopian abundance species rights, which is pretty funny actually. But okay, this basic resource situation is looking a little rough. So I've been paused where I thought I was recording. So it's been a bit of time. We have some riddle escorts here, which is nice. And then we have a decent amount of basic resource issues, which are being resolved as fast as we can do so. But essentially what we're going to be doing now in the meantime is we're just going to try to continue teching up, maintaining our basic economy, which is kind of not working, but I guess we can just sell off some of the rest of our economy to hold this intact for now. It's definitely a bit rough, but yeah, this should fix itself in no time at all as this planet gets going. And then in the meantime, we're just going to focus on teching up, right? And just seeing what we can get to by mid-game. As you know, we're just going to max out these planets without Fallen Empire buildings and just kind of see how strong that is. So yeah, I'll be back in some time. Alright, third civic here. I'm not exactly sure what to take. I guess meritocracy is just a fine kind of a placeholder until I get a better idea of what we might need. If you guys have any better ideas, let me know in the comments of what would make a great third civic for this. I think Ascensionist would definitely be best for the ultra late game, but we really don't have enough to start ascending too many of our pops currently. So Anyhow, we definitely want to keep a Minister of Defense in as well, just to keep that naval capacity up. And as you can see, I'm still struggling with some basic resources, but it's getting a little bit better. It's getting a little bit better. It should be worked out sooner rather than later. Hopefully, it really is just the planetary build speed. It's just doesn't quite feel fast enough to keep up with how fast I'm building other things. And I think getting a trade federation would definitely help a ton. In addition, so we're going to work towards getting a trade federation. That should help us a massive amount here. We're probably going to build it here, or when these guys get out of war, we're up to a decent. We're up to -14 now, right? So we're getting closer to being able to join them, and that is definitely pretty massive for us. 500 alloys is nice, right? But I mean, like this basic resource situation is just so annoying. We have to consistently cut investments, and that cuts into our alloy output and that kind of thing. Hopefully we fix that soon, and it shouldn't be too long. And we've already obviously outscaled the Grand Admiral AIs, thanks to a bunch of riddle escorts here. We can even start to upgrade them now. It's not too important to do so, as they're not going to be upgrading much. But yeah, we're starting to pile up some of these nice ships as well. So yeah, we're doing great. Sometimes I just have massive brain farts. I just disabled all the rare resource buildings on this planet here, and then instantly we have minerals. Who would have guessed that some of the most mineral-hungry buildings in the entire game are using all my minerals? In the meantime, this will finally give me a chance to build up my mineral habitat here. As you can see, since there's an arc furnace in this system, there's a ridiculous amount of potential mineral spots. Which is nice because no support zones means the efficiency is just awful, like genuinely awful. This efficiency is so bad that megastructures look useful, like, which is funny to say because megastructures were previously so useful and now they're really kind of useless because support zones are so overpowered. But if you're playing a build like Voidforge, where basic resources are amazing and advanced resources are pretty easy, to be honest, right? Then maybe the answer really is. It might just be to focus on trying to get megastructures. We're up to 4K tech now, which is quite good. This is quite a bit faster than certain other builds, but do keep in mind that except for Fallen Empire buildings, you don't get much stronger than this. Like you get up to 10K tech. Fallen Empire buildings gets you up to maybe 15K tech, and that's as high as you can get. Where one single maxed Cumulonimbus from a Purity Empire, for example, gets up to 35K tech, and then one single maxed out habitat from a Toxic God Empire probably gets up to about 60k tech. And you can have multiple. And they're faster to max out since they're not very large. They're habitats at the end of the day. And with less jobs. So less build time, less jobs. It's kind of powerful. Right, so there's all that to keep in mind when evaluating the power of this build. I will say I don't think any other build can get Riddle Escorts by year 30. I'm not sure if that's possible. I would love to see it happen. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I don't know of another build that has managed to get Riddle Escorts by year 30. Even if it's not a lot of them, right, that's still pretty insane. I would love to know if any of you guys have managed that. I reckon it's probably possible. Is it possible with Overtuned? I mean, you need a Cosmogenesis Ascension perk selected early enough to then, like, a Virtual might still be the only one. So this is still pretty strong, right? Like, I think Overtuned is definitely stronger late game, which is definitely a very important factor for single player, right? As the first 50 years is the minority of single player games for a lot of players. So, yeah, I do got to keep that in mind when ranking these as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comments in terms of how you would order certain builds. Like, right, this is without Fallen Empire buildings, but this is already quite strong. I would say not a lot of builds could match this. I mean, this isn't the biggest fleet volume in the world, right? For year 35 having only, what is this, 40k. It's not the craziest thing in the world. It's not the craziest, but it's definitely not weak. I don't think that that's a fair statement to say at all, right? So, not interested. Also, I think we can stop buying minerals now, finally. We need to buy more energy, funnily enough, but, yeah. Sustaining energy via basic resources is clearly unsustainable. So instead, what we're going to do is we're just going to use trade to sustain our energy for now, and then this self-trade fed, as soon as we get access to it, should help us a ton. And I'll show you guys how to do that in case you guys aren't aware. So I'm going to wait until this planet is done. Alright everyone, we are back. We have galactic parasites over our planet that we want to release as a vassal. So let me go clear those up. I don't even know if you can release a planet as a vassal as it's being bombarded. I hate galactic parasites. Anyhow, I think we might be able to do it anyway. So we go into management here. You have to make sure the planet is 5 or more jumps inclusive from your capital. So this is 1 jump, 2 jump, 3 jump, 4 jump, 5. So 5 is good enough. And then you can go ahead and just create a vassal. You do want to remove any excess zones too by going to edit sector and removing systems. Since this is already just a single planet, we don't need to do that. Create vassal, randomize, and boom, now we have a vassal. And now we can release the subject and establish an embassy. And, they should be immediately very friendly with us since they are us, right? So guarantee independence, form non-aggression pact. Just click all the buttons. And then very, very, very soon, Form Federation should become available. And we obviously need that since I don't want to be trading for 200 plus energy per month. Instead, we need to be going for a mineral max in terms of this. And these arc furnaces should help us a little bit as well since I do have a couple pretty good arc furnace systems here that are gradually building up. So that should help us in the long run as well. And then, can I form Federation with you guys yet? Nope, -3 acceptance. I guess we'll just wait for that. It should be pretty fast. Alright everyone, it took like a year, and now we can form a trade league with them. And trade league is, in my opinion, still the best trade federation policy, or still the best trade policy in general, giving you consumer goods, energy credits, unity, and, just so many things. And would you willing to send us a teacher from order? We wish to learn. Very nice. We now definitely don't need to buy any energy credits anymore. We should have more than enough. And we can focus buying on just purely minerals with our insane excess of trade. We do lack a bit of consumer goods now, right? So all we really need to do to fix that problem is just upgrade our trading a little bit here. Like we can run this commercial nexus here to the maximum, couple commercial zones, right? And then just max out this mineral planet as well. And then we can replace these districts with habitation districts, giving us extra trade, extra naval capacity, and that should sustain our empire pretty nicely. And as you can see, as we're building up all our buildings here, upgrading all of these and that kind of thing, our basic resources are getting really good. Our industrial resources are fine. Our tech is continuously upgrading. We should be hitting 5K soon. 2K engineering, 1.5K of each of these almost. So yeah, we're very, very close to 5K. We should see that number tick over any second now. And yeah, at this point, we're really flying through techs. We have a decent fleet. It's only 120 naval capacity, but it's genuinely decently strong, I would say. We also, of course, have 30,000 alloys, so that's probably like 20,000 naval cap or 20,000 fleet power right there. Thanks to this planet, we're going to have a decent source of minerals, right? That should just about sustain our empire. Trade to buy whatever we're lacking, right? Like we could buy like 100 consumer goods, for example. And we don't really want to buy alloys as they're typically quite expensive, but this one habitat here is making us a good amount of alloys at this point. We can ascend it a couple times even now that we finally have a good source of unity in this trade fed. And we probably have enough, yeah, we had enough to enable those, which means we can probably put these upgrades in now. So let's slide those up as well. I think we can put this upgrade in as well. Let's just put that to max priority. And yeah, like how much of these base rare resources are we making? Like 40 of each. Very nice. Now, compared to some of the other builds I've been playing, are these numbers spectacular? No. Shroudforge can't be this strong now, but it can reach this point maybe by year 50, right? Maybe 48, 47. And then it'll keep going, like right past this point. And yeah, like a maxed out virtual empire, I can't see it without. I mean, you can always use stuff like the synaptic lathe, right? You can leverage the fact that our tech is so strong right now and our military is so overwhelming to go kill the galaxy and use their pops to feed a synaptic lathe or something like that. But you can do that with any kind of empire, which is why I just have to judge the numbers of virtual based on how strong it is now. And I can't say it's that much stronger. I mean, it is stronger than other builds that I've tested at this stage of the game, but we have to penalize it for the fact that the ultra late game of virtual is just not the best, as 4 habitats, even with Fallen Empire buildings, is not going to catch for Cumulonimbus with Fallen Empire buildings, if you see what I'm saying, plus a bunch of support planets that can do whatever you need that other builds can make. But could Biomorphosis get to 5k tech at year 41? Absolutely not. Could Biomorphosis get to 1,000 alloys and more than 1,000 tech? Absolutely not. Could it reach 200 naval capacity almost of riddle escorts? No, it can't. So yeah, I think virtual definitely, I would say, underrated at this point. I'm not sure if you would call this weaker or stronger than Biomorphosis, right? Because I also used the same trick, the trade trick, in my Biomorphosis build showcase, where I think at year 50 is when I hit 5k tech, and I had a extreme amount more naval capacity, but it was Maulers, which are a more exploitable class of ship. So I don't know if you could say whether that's actually weaker or stronger, and I definitely was not this far along in Cosmogenesis because of the slower attack, right? So yeah, I don't know which build I would consider to be stronger, if I'm being completely honest here. But anyhow, I think that's going to be it for today's episode. Like, these are perfectly great numbers. I'm going to wait for the alloys to take to 1,000 because 1,000 is a great number for a screenshot. And I'm like that these days. I'm hungry. I'm hungry for the OP screenshot, right? So let's go ahead and try to get that. And let's try to get this Riddle Escorts in here too. So yeah, anyhow, 1,000 tech at year 41. This is definitely still a solid build, but no longer the top echelon, I would say. I would prefer to play Knights. Knights cannot militarize, but I think every single build that I would consider top 5 has trade-offs, except for clones. I think clones are just a little bit weaker, which is definitely interesting. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!